Hi, I'm Nathan Grounds, Coalition Coordinator for the Northeast Texas Coalition Against Substance Abuse.
I'm Joseph Byram, Coalition Coordinator for the Pineywood Substance Abuse Coalition.
I'm Rebecca Smith, Coalition Program Director for our parent nonprofit, Next Step. Today we're going to discuss what's the big deal about marijuana. While there is debate on legalizing marijuana for adults, in this video we'll only be talking about the risk of using marijuana if you're a minor. People on both sides of the debate agree that marijuana is too risky for anyone under 21. If you're under 21, it's just not worth the risk to your health or your potential.
I'm Kathy Davidson with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. At MAD and at Next Step, we want to encourage youth to think about their future and their goals. Grab a pen and paper because in this video we'll ask you several questions that we want you to take the time to reflect on and write down. But for now, let's get started learning about the dangers of marijuana.
So when we say marijuana, what are we talking about? Two of the main substances that come from the marijuana plant are THC and CBD. According to Harvard Medical School, while CBD has shown to reduce seizures for some rare disorders, there is no known medical use for THC. No part of marijuana can cure cancer, and some advertisers have gotten into trouble with the federal government for saying that it does.
While marijuana use is legal in some states for adults, there is no state where it is legal for anyone under age 21. That's because the teen brain is still developing and marijuana can have much more serious effects for those who use it under age 21. And it's illegal to drive under the influence of THC in every state. Driving under the influence is just as dangerous as driving intoxicated, because if you feel different, you drive different.
Sometimes when we talk to students, they feel like everyone is using marijuana, but that's just not the case. The vast majority of students don't use marijuana at all.
Marijuana use has been steadily dropping among teens in East Texas. This is according to the Texas School Survey, an anonymous survey conducted by researchers at Texas A&M every 2 years. Before you think students aren't being honest, you should know researchers have ways of weeding out students who don't take the survey seriously.
According to the Texas School Survey, more than 90% of 7th through 12th graders in East Texas say that they don't use marijuana regularly. That means 9 out of 10 students don't use marijuana. Now, you may hear of students using marijuana because it's something students like to talk about. Students always like to talk about things that get them in trouble. But it doesn't mean that it's happening often. What's another example of something that doesn't happen often, but people still talk about it a lot?
Oh, shark attacks. Oh, winning the lottery.
The important thing for you to remember is that even if it sometimes feels like everyone is doing it, the reality is only a small percentage use marijuana. You don't have to use it to fit in. Now, let's talk about the dangers of using marijuana underage.
You should know teens who use marijuana regularly could have an 8-point decrease in IQ, the test that measures intelligence. Students who smoke marijuana may get lower grades and may be more likely to drop out of high school than their peers who don't use. And if you have mental health problems, marijuana can make them worse. According to research from Harvard Medical School, teens who smoke marijuana can be at risk of developing psychosis or schizophrenia.
Contrary to common belief, marijuana is addictive, especially for a teenager. Estimates from research suggest about 9% of users become addicted to marijuana. This number increases among those who start young to about 17%, or 1 in 6, and among daily users to 25 to 50%. According to the National Institute on Drug Use, long-term marijuana users who try to quit report withdrawal symptoms including irritability, sleeplessness, decreased appetite, anxiety, and drug craving, all of which can make it difficult to stay off of the drug.
We want you to take a second here to write down some things. First, what goals do you have for your life? What do you want to do after you graduate? Second, knowing what we just said about marijuana, What are some ways marijuana can get in the way of those goals? Take a second to think about those questions.
It's important to have goals and dreams for your future. As a matter of fact, having dreams for your future can be good for your mental health today. If you can't think of something, maybe talk to a teacher, friend, or parent about what some good goals would be for you to work toward.
There are so many myths and misconceptions out there about marijuana, for good and for bad. But think about this. Here's a quote from the nationally recognized nonprofit Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Quote, "A relentless marijuana lobby insists that these products are not especially attractive to children, yet continues to block controls on advertising, labeling, shape, and color. Like big tobacco of yesteryear, big marijuana knows that it needs lifelong addicted customers to prosper. Addictive industries generate the lion's share of their profits from addicts, not casual users. This means that creating addicts is the central goal. And, as every good tobacco executive knows, but won't tell you, this in turn means targeting the young."
How do you feel about the idea of being a victim of an industry that would jeopardize your future just to make money off of you?
Here's another risk to think about. Marijuana smoke irritates the lungs, and people who smoke marijuana frequently can have the same breathing problems as those who smoke tobacco. These problems include a daily cough and phlegm, and more frequent lung illness, and a higher risk of lung infections.
There's no other medicine that patients are advised to smoke. Smoking anything is bad for your lungs, period.
Marijuana also raises the heart rate for up to 3 hours after smoking, possibly increasing the risk of a heart attack. Marijuana can also cause anxiety in some people and interfere with child development during and after pregnancy. And regular long-term use can lead to cycles of severe nausea, vomiting, and dehydration, sometimes requiring emergency medical attention, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse.
Research from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration shows that people who use marijuana are more likely to have relationship problems, worse educational outcomes, lower career achievement, and reduced life satisfaction.
We should also mention putting THC in a vaping device. Having any amount of THC on a school campus is a felony, one of the most serious types of crimes, which will be on your record forever. This could look bad on college applications and job applications, and could prevent you from reaching those goals.
An argument we sometimes hear for marijuana is that it's less dangerous than alcohol. But just because you choose not to use one substance doesn't mean you should use another. That's like saying, I'm going to jump off this 70-foot building instead of this 200-foot building. Both options will have negative consequences. Some students say they use marijuana to help them deal with stress. What are some other ways you can deal with stress that aren't illegal or harmful to your health?
Play a sport.
Write in your journal.
Talk to a friend?
Or an adult who cares. Hey, Dad. Oh, hey, guys.
This is the Sources of Strength wheel. As you can see, it has many different aspects you can include in your life to help you whenever you're going through a tough time. Things like improving your physical health or your mental health, your spirituality or generosity. You can include healthy activities in your life, or you can have mentors and positive friends or family support. It's important to have as many aspects as you can to help you when you're going through a tough time.
How many of you remember the parachute game in gym class when you were in elementary school? Think about how many students it took around the parachute to get it to work. Think of sources of strength like that. The more you have, the better off you'll be. You'll have lots of options for things to turn to other than substances like marijuana. Take a second to write down some of the ways that you can use the sources of strength in your own life.
The last thing we want to talk to y'all about today is ways you can say no whenever marijuana is offered to you. It's really important to have an answer ready, just in case.
Joe, how would you say no?
I just say no thanks. What about you, Rebecca?
I think I would need some kind of excuse, like I don't want to smell bad, or I don't want my teeth to turn yellow.
Whatever your way to say no is, give it some thought before someone even asks. Take a second to think about it and write down your way that you would say no.
That's all we wanted to share with you today about marijuana. Remember those goals and dreams you wrote down? Keep those in mind and look for ways you can work towards them every day. Most likely, that doesn't include using marijuana.
Remember that 9 out of 10 teens don't use. Look for other healthy ways to deal with stress and have a plan in place for how you will say no if someone offers you marijuana. Thanks for listening.
We know you're going to do amazing things.
Have a great year, stay safe, and we hope to see you on campus again soon.
Bye.